Everyone, and welcome to Moonride. This is Dave Johnson, channeling the man of the moon. Today I'm going to talk about a couple of things. The first is the election that's coming up. Yes, I'm still struggling to get my vote through. Seems like it happens every couple of years, but I'm hopeful. The other thing I'd like to take a look at is Trump's woes. Sorry for my little hiatus there. I just wasn't feeling very well for a couple of weeks. Thanks for your concern, those who have sent me messages about this. So let's take a look at the elections. Yeah, and keep in mind these are really hard to do because I have a lot of vested feelings about this, so I'm just going to clear my feelings away. Right, I've already done my pyramid and all that stuff to try to clear it out. I'm just going to go back to that pyramid here for a moment. All right. Getting a gold color today, by the way. Sometimes the pyramids are different colors. Okay. Feels very good. Let's take a look at these elections. And I'm trying to set this up with spirit, okay? So left hand in my vision is Dems. Right hand in my vision is Republicans. I say this because I often see like a circle. And it's like a pie graph. So let's look at the Senate. Okay. So, what's the score on the Senate? How many, Spirit, how many points will the Dems score? I am surprised, but this looks really good for the Dems. Better than I could have imagined. Again, let's just push Dave's ego out of this, his vested interests. Sometimes I do ask 3 times just to be sure. So, look, are we gonna are the Dems gonna really prevail to that degree? I get a huge percentage for Dems, like 20, like more. So that would be it looks like this, like at 25%. So, even I'm kind of doubting this, but when you do this work, you just gotta trust what you see. So, but we'll ask one third time for the Senate. Looks the same. I'm getting almost like a, 3 o'clock. So look, I don't want anybody to not vote because they think it's going to be in the bag. I've been wrong before, but this looks quite good for the Senate. All right, so and I mean for the Dems in the Senate, it looks like they will take firm my majority here. All right, let's get rid of that one. Get rid of that one. Okay, now let's look at the House of Representatives. And I'll just tell you, first of all, you read all these things and it's just like these predictions don't make any sense. There are so many people who are fired up on the left because, our rights are being taken away and we can anticipate them being taken away. And there are so many reasons why people would vote against the Republicans. I'm just getting that what people are reporting is not accurate. What people are predicting is not correct. Can we know why is that not correct? I get a person just shaking their head like, no. Why are we why is it not accurate? Old models. That's what I'm hearing. They're still using these old models of how and why people vote. So, the historic model is that in the midterm election, the incumbent always loses. And that's all like literally been true for, I don't know, 100 years or something. So that's a model that just, I don't think is going to work anymore. Now I'm seeing a pyramid that's cracked. It's just not effective anymore. Right? And that's not to criticize anyone. It's just we don't have the same world anymore that we had 5 years ago, even. So, is there any other reason why these models aren't working? Yeah, these are not necessarily rules. There are somebody's idea of what's going to happen, right? So, human beings are fallible and they do things based on what they know, not based on what could be true, obviously. I mean, that's a rational way to behave. but we're no longer in a rational time. It is interesting to see, this sort of divine feminine that's coming about. It's not necessarily, it doesn't put rational at the highest level. I would say that that's more rational than the divine masculine in some senses, because it is taking in all considerations, feelings as well as math, for example. But the models, I just see a guy like a scientist going, what do I think? Oh, it's my idea. It's just their ideas that this is based on. There's not a real fact per se that they are basing this on. So anyway, let's get back to the house. So what's the house seems close. I do still get a Dem win by just barely a few numbers. So again, if we're looking at it like a clock, like a sort of pie graph, I just get a small sliver of Dems in the House succeeding. Now, keep in mind this is against what the predictions are, but yeah, and I mean even a tiny bit more than a sliver, 4 or 5. That's what it seems to be. So, Spirit, is there a way to confirm this? Sorry, I'm so skeptical, but I'm skeptical of me, you guys, not of Spirit. It's my interpretation that's wrong, not Spirit. Um, so let's see. I should say wrong sometimes. Let's see. Am I? Yeah. It's interesting because the face of Warnock shows up, and it's kind of that seems more real than these statistics. It's like, wait a minute, there is an emotional reason why we would choose Warnock, and well, we should. One is repulsed by these figures who abuse women, who treat their children really bad, who don't parent, who lie. Warnock is just showing up as a good person. He's showing up as an honest person, and even I'm going to say a person with empathy. And I think there is an important shift going on. In the last few years, it's been like if you show empathy at all, you're an idiot. Or, people kind of relish cruelty in a sense. But when I see this man, I see him as a good, honest person. I see him as somebody who cares about others, and I'm seeing Warnock's face. Now, believe me, I'm not that familiar with his face. It's just this is not something I ever thought of before. So this indicates to me that that is the crux of what's going on here. Something is changing in our society, and I would say even our universe. It goes all the way out. Mhm. So let's see if we can get like any advice. What's advice that we can get for Democrats and the left in general? I'm seeing, oh, I'm so sorry, I forget her name. I do that sometimes in these sessions. Kaipur, she's one of two people who are Muslim in the Congress. She has really dark hair and it's kind of short. I forget the Kalpur or something. Forgive me if you're watching, madam. I'm really sorry, but it's this work. Sometimes it gets this. I get confused, but you guys know who I mean. Maybe you can write it in the comments, or I will. But she's really active. She is showing up as like, hey, you got to do this. Here's the plan. I'm not putting up with this. Don't talk over me. She's coming out and she's just like, there it is. Boom, boom. Every day I'm going to go on the offensive, frankly. This is what the Dems need to do. They got to stop trying to be so mealy mouthed and please everyone. They need to go out on the offensive and speak about things that matter. They need to call Republicans out for the bad behaviors. I do not understand why in every single debate they don't come out and remind everybody of the people who died protecting our capital. Now, I don't care if you're a Republican or a Democrat or anything else. You This should be a very important rule for you, an issue for you. I'm sure there's people in denial, but there's also conservative people, centrist people who realize that that was a horrific experience. That was horrific what happened to those people defending our capital. Ah, and don't forget, this is going to make a difference. I've just noticed this. We haven't seen the end of the January 6th hearings. So those change the dial. And now I'm seeing Liz Cheney like, those will change the dial a little bit. Maybe more than a little bit. Liz is going like this, like, thicker than a steak. It'll make a difference. So she and others, um, Katzinger, Ratzinger, the other Republican guy, he he's also there, and he's kind of like telling me I'm a representative of those who are truly conservative, but I'm also, in the world of truth, and the truth is, these people are, committing treason. So think of this, this is what Democrats needed to do. It's pretty ironic that Republicans are so in the forefront of helping that happen. But that tells you a lot about the political changes in our society. So, again, I'm just going to underscore this. Dems need to move forward. They need to highlight what they are doing to change things. It's extremely important that they show themselves as being attuned to the social problems instead of complaining about them, showing how they're going to change things and calling the Republican candidates out for their tacit support or explicit support of those who are not following our democratic process. All right, let's briefly get to Trump and see what he's doing. Think of a sort of tornado. That's Trump. It's a tornado of things, houses flying around, um, it's beyond his control. And it seems these issues are all consuming. Everything that he does, he is doing now for self preservation. Whether he destroys the party or the nation makes no difference to him. He will react and react and react. This is not a good position for him because he's lost control of the narrative. He just reacts to it, and he's undermining the party, the Republican Party. Leticia James has come forth. She's looking pretty cool, and she's looking like she's very much in control. So, Trump is dancing to Letitia's tune. I hope you can all sing in your heart for this fact that this amazing woman is able to, work Trump like a marionette. Good for you, Letitia. She is all of us in a sense. All of us who are looking for justice. What else? So this seems to be really at the heart of, it's almost more bothersome than the others because the other things can be argued politically. You cannot argue politically numbers. The building is, you tell the insurance company the building is worth 30 million, and then you tell the tax people that it's worth 10. That's just numbers. You can't really argue it or spin it. It also reveals that Trump is not particularly rich. He plays a rich guy on TV, but he's not that rich, and that he's been fraudulent in how rich he is in stating this. So Letitia James is really kind of the head of the spear here. The bottom of the spear, however, are those, all of the documents that Trump stole. There's just not much he can do to argue that there was a good reason for this. And will there be consequences? surprising. Trump is surprised by the consequences of taking these papers, not in a good way. Yeah, like nuclear bomb surprised. It's this is a very bad thing for Trump. It's going to take years though. It will take us a long time to get through the court system. It'll all go to the Supreme Court and zing back, and then it'll go around in a circle for a while. So don't expect a quick resolution to that. But it will not work out at all in Trump's favor. I have always seen Trump in prison, and I see him in prison now. So I do believe he will actually go there. Now that is an interpretation, and sometimes Spirit sends me these things, and it's more symbolic. So we'll see if I'm accurate about this. But notice that Trump is being held accountable for his actions. Every day he has to face those issues. Every day he is under an incredible amount of stress. So, what else do we need to know about him? Well, there's an interesting thing. We don't really think about it, but planting those three Supreme Court justices there overturned Roe v. Wade. So, practically speaking, Trump says this, Trump says that. Some things, they're just him blustering. They don't make that much of a difference. But that did make a difference. That shift, that political shift, where the right, especially the religious right, got what they wanted, that was a game changer. And people blame him. That is, people who want reproductive choice, people who want women to have control over their own bodies, they they don't necessarily care about every one of the things that normal lefty people care about, but they care a lot about that. And now they are starting to identify as not being that. I would say, even for some Republicans, some conservatives, this is an issue that is sending them to the middle, sending them to, like, maybe they're still going to vote for Trump, but they don't have the same enthusiasm they did before. And they're listening to conversations that omit them. They're listening to conversations where men are telling women what to do. I mean, if you're a conservative woman, um, this is kind of sticking in your craw a little bit. Maybe you don't necessarily support abortion, but you might think of it in more as a person should have some choice in the matter. Maybe not every choice, but and again, I'm speaking for the conservative women here. They're not so sure anymore about the package that is Donald Trump. Keep in mind, this is exactly what we would want to happen. We want people to go through their lives and experience them and change their opinion on their own. It's much better if they learn on their own. You'll never change most minds. You might be there when they do change their minds and be very factual and be very gentle, but it is the only way. They have to go through life. Everybody has a journey, and they have to figure things out on their own, just as all of us everywhere on the political spectrum. All right, thanks so much for watching. Take a look at my website if you wish. It should be down below.